Hey guys, how you doing? I'm sure you're sick of seeing these Britain's 132 diecast toys, but I'm nearing the end on them, so pretty soon I will stop inundating you with little updates on them. But here's the Scout car. I had sourced these reproduction decals from a company in the UK called britain'sflags.com. I repainted the vehicle with the Mickey Mouse camouflage pattern as peculiar to some British vehicles in World War II. And I threw a little piece of chain on the back for that armored vehicle look. Um, that came from Michael's Craft Store out of their jewelry section. I'll probably weather the vehicle. I'm not a big fan of these sort of baseline paint jobs, but done is good, and weathering can come later. I also replaced the flagpole. Mine didn't have one, so this is a piece of metal, and that's one of the decals that comes in the kit. So that one's done. The Kubel wagon, uh, Mr. Driver needs an arm replacement. That shouldn't be too bad. I can probably cut something off of a plastic figure. Um, the folded top was missing on mine, and I don't have a command car for the layout for the Germans yet. So this is going to be the commanding officer's car. What I think I'd like to do is just throw some gear on the back here where the folded top would be. I'm having a hard time finding what I'm envisioning. I'm envisioning sort of a combination of like a general's personal luggage and maybe a crate or two. I kind of want to make the scenario, the tones of the German high command is bailing out when they can, sort of like the rats leaving a sinking ship type of vibe. I do have a 132nd scale command car coming though. It's a model kit from a Japanese company. It's vintage. I found one on eBay. Um, it was missing some parts, so I made a lower offer for it, and the seller was kind enough to accept. The model is currently in transit, and hopefully, it's a Mercedes sedan with a rigid roof, not a convertible roof. So we'll see if I like it. Also bought a 135th scale Mercedes G4, which is my one of my two favorite vehicles in the entire Second World War. And unfortunately, it's 135th, which tends to look a little small, but it's such a large vehicle that maybe it'll look good. The Kubel wagon, when Britain sells these, they have the German cross marking on the door. Um, that's not really what would happen on a vehicle this small. Now, I've been collecting World War II stuff since I was a kid, literally, and I've been researching uh, this stuff as well. So you never say never. They never did that. But the common thing was movies will show you that they put the German cross on these soft skin vehicles. But in reality, most of your research photos will show they didn't have that. So they had a data stencil with the weight and some other statistics stenciled on the side, usually for rail transport. So I found these. The company's called Petting House, um, and I found these decals on eBay. These are from their 135th scale Schwimmwagen, but if you can see in the reflection, these black rectangles there. That's a data plate. I wanted to go with white. There is white on the decal sheet. So those will go on the door right in that spot. So I have some decal setting solution coming. I've never used decal setting solution in my life before, but both of these vehicles came out a little rough. My primer coat spattered a little bit and made a subtle texture on you can see it there on the front armor plate, which I kind of don't mind on an armored vehicle like this. But nevertheless, it made some texture on the vehicles. So I want the decals to set nicely. The neat thing is, like, there's license plate blanks, so you can put your own. It'll be a nightmare, but you can put your own license plate numbers on there. I will probably make this one Luftwaffe. I've spent years collecting SS and Army stuff. I always avoided Luftwaffe, but in this case, it might be appropriate. I'll make it like something out of the Hermann Goering Division or something. So this updates largely on small things, smalls that I've purchased. And to show you over here, the Hermann Goering plunder train full of loot. So I found a crate from my collection of stuff. I'll have to paint that up. But I got this tiny, tiny, tiny statue. I think it's HO scale from Preiser. Preiser makes a lot of railroad figures and things in various scale. And I saw this statue and I thought, that'll look great in the train. I thought it would be a little bit bigger than that. Boy, oh boy, this thing is small. But it'll make some nice scenes for later on. I had mentioned in an earlier video that this plunder train, I'll do a little visual vignette at some point with like the Allies seizing the train and discovering all the plundered works of art from Europe. And I referenced the movie Monuments Men. I've seen the PBS documentary, which I thought was pretty good. I read the book, which I thought was kind of dull. And then I rewatched the movie last night, and it was absolutely dreadful, as I remember. What a waste of a movie. George Clooney, you cannot direct, you can barely act, and in this anyway. It's just so soft of a movie with such a rich basis of storytelling. Granted, you don't have to make them heroes and make it action filled, but God, just make it interesting. It was so bad. That rant is over, and my storytelling will be exciting and excellent once the layout is complete. So other smalls I've picked up. So die-cast figures. The layout seems to be going heavily metal, and the various die-cast figures you can get are very expensive. Every once in a while, I find one for a good price, but a guy like this, he's up there in price. Generally, sellers want about $50 a figure, and I just don't have that kind of money. But when I find one once in a while, like this one, I grab it for a good price. And this is a different company, different than King and Country and some of the others that escape me right now. But this is an Italian company called Tricyclo. Tricyclo Editores. Diecast nurse on a Royal Enfield motorcycle with base. And since this is my ad hoc hospital, she will look great somewhere around there, just either getting off of her shift or arriving for her shift. Some other small items I've gotten, if you can see in the hospital there's a little bed, a little table with some containers and a little gurney. The gurney came out of this ambulance. And the bed and little table came from BMC Toys. I have their like U.S. Army barracks set, which I'd dug out of storage and started populating here on the layout. Let's move along. I'll show you some other little things. I got some, I think these are Britons again, road signs for that sort of European look. I have them spread all around, like there, and some other spots. But mentioning BMC Toys, I picked up on my last haul the Marching U.S. Army Soldiers set. There's basically two different figures here, the soldier with the rifle and the officer accompanying the troops. So I set up about a dozen or so of them here for now. They are according to the package, 1/30th scale, which I like for this layout because, as I mentioned before, the larger size just sort of stands out well. And this is the Allied side of the layout, and what I'm going to do with it ultimately, I have no idea, but it's fun to pull some things out and set them up. Harkening back to that comment about the BMC Toys Barracks furniture. So I picked up this Mark's tin plate barracks a while ago at an antique store, and filled it up a couple days ago with some of the various furniture from the BMC set. And I believe that's a vintage set. That's just a modern reproduction. So kind of cool to have all these little fun things to go in there. And the only other thing to report on the layout are these columns that I have. That's my post right there. These are wedding cake columns, and I bought them quite a while ago for future use in some of my diorama work. They're about 12 inches tall. I have more than this. I think I bought a lot of them. And I've been watching a lot of historical footage about Berlin, end of war and post-war Berlin. And there's a gateway, I guess you would call it, that separates the British zone from whatever adjacent zone it was. And there was large columns like this with, they were capped with an architectural piece and some sculpture. So I have a couple pieces of interesting little sculpture coming. And I'll, of course, use creative license to make something that looks European, but harkens to that footage. And these will all be painted up kind of concrete color. But they'll go somewhere. I wish they were kind of like twice as tall, and then I can make an elevated rail around here, which is a long-term plan, but I'll go with what I got right now and do what I can to dress it up. So that's that, and I'll be posting some more smalls as they arrive in the mail in the next few days. Take care.